This is the Saturday edition of the Shut Up Money Show. This is what we do every week on Saturday at this time. We have a public Q&A, and we invite you to come in and be my guest here. If you're interested in the real estate game, real estate investing, real estate wholesaling, maybe you've been doing it a while, maybe you're just now getting started. We want to help you get to that next deal paycheck. That's that shut up money, the shut up money right there. When you can open your mouth and tell all your doubts and fears and all the naysayers. I mean, for crying out loud, we've all got them. We've all got them. We know who they are. The naysayers, we can tell them to shut up because this works. We got our money. All right. So today we have a great guest, Michael Batista. He's always with us here. He's ever present with me. Michael Batista, you're pretty much like my best friend, man.
I appreciate you, man.
You always get us hooked up with great guests
Appreciate
too.
you. Thank you. Happy to be here.
If you want to come, I'll let you introduce our guest, but I want to tell folks real quick, if you want to come in here, I forgot to mention this. I get sidetracked. www.zoomjustin.com. That'll bring you right here into the Zoom room with us today, so you can participate with us. Just be my guest, like I was saying. Michael Batista, you got a guest with us today, man. I'm real excited about this one.
Absolutely. Yeah. We've been trying to get Paul on here for a while. So I have had the pleasure of knowing Paul for quite some time. Paul Ritter from ScreenTheTenant.com. He comes widely recommended by some of the most renowned real estate mentors, coaches,
Yep.
people in the business that, aside from Justin, that a lot of folks really look
Michael's in Peru.
up to. So I finally had to officially invite Paul on. Paul Ritter from ScreenTheTenant.com.
Paul Ritter from ScreenTheTenant.com.
Paul, you here? Can you hear us okay?
I hear you fine, thank you. Okay, so should I take over from here, and can I share my screen?
Yes, sir. Please do. We are all
Absolutely.
wholesalers here, and we're wildly interested in lease options and creative stuff. So, Screen the Tenant. I've been telling people one thing, but I hear that you have better ways, and so I want to hear all about it today. When it comes to working with tenants and screening them and knowing who you have moving into your house or your house deal, so on and so forth. I'm sorry, dude. Share your screen. Take it over.
Okay, well, before I go into the PowerPoint presentation piece of this, why would somebody want to use lease option to sell a house as opposed to just buying, fixing up, and selling, or buying and renting out? Many of the gurus agree that the lease option exit strategy is preferable, and the reasons are numerous. One, in opposition of just renting, you get a better quality tenant, because a lease option exit strategy, they're a tenant buyer, and so they're going to take care of your house. And so you don't have to worry about them trashing, because they think of the house as their own. And as opposed to just buying and selling, it's long-term capital gains versus short-term capital gains. From a tax standpoint, you're going to be able to retain a lot more of the money, the profit that you have on the house, if you're doing like a sandwich lease option. And meaning that you're basically going to hold on to it for a period of time. And during that period of time, you may make money above and beyond what the rent payment is. The payment that you receive might be higher than the payment that you're paying. So you may make some middle money there too. And finally, you can actually get more money because you're selling at a future value. So rather than selling the house as it sits today, if I'm selling for a year or 2 years from now, I can kind of inflate my value, usually about 10%. And that's a standard in the industry, because we don't know. I mean, the people that are going to be moving in, they're going to get that appreciation. So the reasons to use this type of exit strategy are numerous. So I like to think of it as the ultimate lease option exit strategy that I've put together. I actually have a couple of companies, a screening company and a credit repair company, have kind of married the forces together to make this
Wow.
lease option exit strategy.
Wow.
Do you have a question so far, Justin?
Oh no, dude. This is right up our alley right here. Exactly. Everything you just said, we are 100% on the same page. I'm
Okay.
excited, sir.
Yeah. So yeah, this is taught by a lot of the major gurus, Ron LeGrand and Jay Connor and Chris Prefontaine, Joe McCall. All these guys teach this type of a strategy, and it's for a reason. It's also, you can go to bed knowing you did the right thing, and you can feel good. You can be a member of your community. What I mean by that is, you don't feel like it's you against the buyer. This is all where everyone's prospering, because these people couldn't buy a toaster on credit, many of them, and now you're actually giving them a house and giving them an opportunity to move into that house and actually execute the lease option exit strategy. Well, the way I feel is, I always tell this to the tenant buyers too. And by the way, at this stage, I still do all of when I do the screenings, I do the credit repair piece of it. I actually get on a Zoom conference call with them and go through everything. And I'll show you that in about during this presentation. I'll show you kind of what I go over with them. But they end up feeling very comfortable in working with it. I mean, you can be a part of the community. What I mean by that is, these are the people you see at church, and you see at the schools, and you see around your community, and you want to feel good about doing business with them, and they feel good about doing business with you, and they refer friends and family to you as well. So you become a pillar of your community, and well respected, because you're getting people in a position to be mortgage ready, people who otherwise could not qualify for a mortgage. So that's kind of how this works, folks. And I would take careful notes, and feel free to take screenshots along the way, because this is stuff that they should have taught us in high school and college, but they were too busy teaching us home economics and metal shop, So
Exactly.
all right.
I'm
Any
excited.
questions at this point in time? I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and go through a full-on presentation.
Let's if there's no questions now, let's hold questions till the end of the presentation, and then maybe we can have some Q&A. Paul, is that cool?
Yeah, that's cool. I'll reserve some time for that. I'll go through this and leave some time. And Michael and Justin, if you guys want to interject or intercede at any point in time, please feel free to do so. So let me go ahead and bring up and let me know if you can see my screen whenever. Can you guys see my PowerPoint presentation piece to this?
I see it.
Okay, it looks like I'm having a problem. There we go. Okay. So again, I mentioned that I have a couple companies. My love is really credit repair. I've been doing that since 1997. Whenever I saw a bankruptcy come off of my own credit report, that's when I fell in love with the whole concept of doing it. And I've been doing it ever since. So I'm one of the pioneers in the industry of doing credit repair.
You had a bankruptcy? I'm sorry, dude, but that's phenomenal. Credit repair can remove a bankruptcy?
Let me tell you, well, I've seen it happen hundreds of times, but let me share my personal experience with you on that.
Yeah.
I married a woman that had an affinity of spending more money than I could ever make. So
we've been there.
Mistake number one. But anyhow, at the end of all that, the bankruptcy was removed, and the way it came off is in the first pass. This is 1997. In the first pass, it came off of like TransUnion, one of the three. The second one took about 6 months, and the third one took about a year. So I saw my score go from 515 to 714 like overnight on one of them. And that's like, wow, this is like really cool stuff.
Yeah. That's
so
wild.
I ended up using like the TransUnion to buy a car like the next year. And then everything kind of built from there. And so, oh, by the way, it was only 6 months out of whenever I had that bankruptcy removed off the first one, and 2 years, ultimately, about 2.5 years from the time that I filed the bankruptcy to was off my credit report. It was amazing.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yeah, that'll make you a believer, huh?
Yeah, no kidding.
Anyhow, the other piece of this is I do own a company called Screen the Tenant and DBA Pre-Qual Team. I use Pre-Qual Team more now because Pre-Qual Team actually says what I do. Screen the Tenant kind of boxes us into a tenant relationship with our tenant buyers. And really, we're just pre-qualifying for a future date. So think of it this way. If you could put futuristic goggles on and you could say, okay, what's it going to take to have a person to become mortgage ready at a time in the future? That's what I do. I understand debt to income ratio analysis. In other words, I call it affordability report. So the affordability report is I go over it in detail with the people, and I'll show you that in just a little bit. It's kind of a perfect forum to play what if. What if certain, and what if I have a raise in my income or so on. But that piece of the process, I understand underwriting guidelines like no one's business. FHA, VA, USDA, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. I've written those guidelines and programmed them into the computer. And I've owned and operated several mortgage companies. So I understand, what it takes to get a loan done and how you can get somebody from cradle to grave on that. What I say to them is I say there's two closing tables with a lease option transaction. I'm talking to the tenant buyer. I say there's two closing tables. The first one, you get the keys and you move into the house. And the second one is where you get a bank loan. Now, it might be a year or even 2 years between the time that you get those two closing tables. But you're allowed to live in the house and fix up whatever's ailing you, whatever's preventing you from buying. So I'm here to help you get from through the first closing table and to the second closing table. And then I usually interject the person that referred them to me. I say, ABC Real Estate, they're real good at buying homes and fixing them up and offering them for resale, but they've outsourced this piece of it because they want to see you be successful. They want to see you at that second closing table. So it's a start, it's a crescendo. I build you up along the way and using your name and reinforcing you as the referral source and you as the person that really is in control of this transaction. So now your closing is so much easier. By the way, I'm also a real estate investor, so I understand, the dynamics of real estate investing, and I won't say anything to step on your deal or excuse me, or mess it up at any point in time. Any thoughts you want to interject here?
I'm kind of blown away a little bit. I mean, you sound like an investor and like you get it. And I don't think anywhere else anybody gets it like you do. You know what I mean?
There are other screening companies out there, Justin, and there are other credit repair companies, but nobody. I'm the sole guy in the industry, and that's why all these people have recommend me. I'm the sole guy in the industry who understands how to put both of those services together from an investor standpoint, and that's why the people who go through our program are able to cash out over 90% of the time. They're able to cash you out. And if you talk to any investor in the industry, they say, well, the reason I'm not going to do lease options is because, if I take a big down payment and the people fail, well, then I can get, along comes Dodd-Frank and they can sue me and all the liability exposure. You're missing the market because you don't understand that you can cash them out. You can have a third party put all this stuff together for you. So that's the missing piece. When you have someone like me working with you, as really kind of your right arm to get this thing together, that's what makes everything fly. So as you can see here, you might know some of these people that are on this screen here. I've been working with all of them for a number of years. Ron LeGrand, I've been working with Ron for probably about 9 years now. Actually, I'd have to give a lot of my credit to Ron because he helped me come up with a screening company concept and then marrying it to the credit repair. I already had the credit repair in place, but so kudos to Ron, a good friend of mine, and all the people that are on here have had me on their shows or have been sending people to me for a long period of time. These are all real estate investor trainers, by the way.
Wow, that's
Okay.
like a who's who in the biz.
Yeah.
You see what? Yeah, like I recognize a lot of people on there. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all good friends of mine. So, it's been a fun road, and the journey is not over yet. The journey is still, it's in its infancy stage, the way I see it, because this is a service that helps communities out at large and helps even our economy out at large. So we're looking to grow. So bring us your business, folks. We'd love to work with you. So anyhow, most people think that the number one reason that people get turned down for an application is because of their credit. But really the number one reason is debt to income ratio. And this slide here, this is done by CoreLogic, who, you know, basically these people know what they're talking about. They do studies on all this stuff. Anyhow, debt to income ratio is simply how much money you make divided by how much money you owe on a monthly basis. And they have with two ratios. One's a front end ratio and one's a back end ratio, housing ratio, and then all your debts ratio perspective. This is what an underwriter is going to look at intently. And the more they can be more lenient. It's kind of like underwriting guidelines aren't like cut and dry. If you exceed a certain piece of the underwriting guide or threshold, that you're disqualified. They kind of take a holistic approach on all this. Now, whenever, you know, an underwriter looks at it. Now, as far as there's a software program, actually a couple software programs that they use to underwrite these files now, put on by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. That's who buys up these loans. So when you run it through, it comes up with either what's called refer eligible, which means that that has to go to an underwriter, or it comes up with an accept. You know, the guy walks on water, has got 850 credit score, and he has a very low debt to income ratio, and he's got money in the bank. Those are real easy, you know, but it's the debt to income ratio is a key component to mortgage eligibility. And the higher the credit score, the more they will allow with a debt to income ratio. So these things kind of all factor together. It's like a plate of spaghetti. You throw the noodles on the plate, and if you pull one noodle, it's going to affect so many other pieces of it. So it's not for the common man to figure out. You know, the algorithm that they use to do all this stuff is
like insurance, Paul. Like insurance.
Yeah. Make your eyes crossed. And so anyhow, here's what we do, folks. We verify their income. And this is why I'm different than the TransUnion, Smart Moves, or any other screening service out there. They're not going to verify income. They're not going to get pay stubs and W-2s and calculate out how much your people make. They do credit reports, as we do as well, but they're not going to do an analysis. And by the way, when I pull a credit report, I'm going to be looking at like a Credit Karma or freecreditreport.com, which has the Credit Karma's score is not it's not a FICO score, but the data is accurate. And I'm looking at the data as to whether or not they're going to be mortgage eligible. So I look at that. And so in my analysis, I'm going to let you know how long it's going to be for them to be mortgage ready. And I'm going to let you know what's going to happen, what needs to happen in order for that to occur. And if they enroll in our credit repair service, I'm going to allow you, the real estate investor, to track their results online, real time, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. It's a beautiful thing. And if they leave the service, in other words, they can't play us, like they can't play you and say, oh, you know what, I'm going to get in the service and then I'm going to bail on the credit repair service a month after I'm in the house because I don't need it anymore. I'm already in the house, right? Well, then at least I'm going to let you know. And they would have violated the agreement that they have with you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah, and I give you an addendum that you can have them sign with whatever paperwork you're using now. It can accompany that. It's an addendum. It's an additional document that basically covers CYA. It covers you so that if they do bail on the credit repair, you now have another document to go. If they try to sue you later on, you have a document to put before the judge. And I'll show you that document in just a little bit. But it's
Paul, does their dropping out of the credit repair do away? Does that void the option to purchase or not?
It could. It's written in the manner that it could. You could execute it and use it as another reason to get them out. But, you know, I think common sense should prevail. If they're making their monthly payment and they're not trashing your house and you have this house on a long-term lease, then you might want to just let them stay there. But if you've only got a year to, in other words, then the house goes back to the seller, you might want to say, hey, listen, you really need to get this credit repair done. You can't be dilly-dallying around.
Right.
You know, so
time's ticking. Yeah.
So it really depends upon the situation. Excellent question, though, Justin. Does it void it? It can if you want it to. So you're still the captain of that ship. Criminal background check, Megan's Law report, we do those as well. And if they need credit restoration, well, we refer them. In other words, the screening company refers them over to the credit repair company. It's all baked in the cake. It's built in the process. And by the way, it's real simple. Like from your perspective, from the real estate investor's perspective, it's really easy. All you're going to do is send them a link, and then we handle everything else. And from our perspective, we walk them through step by step. We even give them videos, and and then they're going to talk to the credit expert is going to lay out their action plan and everything. So it's all in there, folks. But guess what? The cost to you, $0. All right.
Wow,
So anyhow,
like free.
Yeah.
That's because you're on Justin's program today. That's why you're getting it for free. Everyone else got to pay. And by the way, we're going to throw in a $1,000 application too. It's valued at $1,000. I'll show you what that looks like in just a minute here.
Wow.
Okay, so take the strain off of your staff. This is what I talked about, the debt to income ratio analysis here. So we're going to calculate it. We're going to actually put into your analysis here, what their debts are. You can see them if your screen's sharp enough. You can see that I got a Macy's card, a GNC automobile payment. Notice about a couple lines down here on that automobile payment, the $411 that they're paying for monthly payments in brackets. Well, why would that be? Why would I not calculate that in? That's what the brackets mean. Don't calculate that into what they pay from a debt to income ratio standpoint. Why would I do such a thing? Well, to the right of that, it says it's a business automobile. This guy told me he can show us copies of canceled checks that the business pays for the automobile. Guess what? An underwriter is going to say, well, that doesn't have to be calculated into the ratio. So all those little tricks and secrets is less than 10 payments left on an installment loan. I can ignore that debt. What I can show in terms of income, including Social Security. Oh, and by the way, I can't use temporary income. If it's permanent income, disability, all that stuff. We know all that stuff. So we basically go over that and show them. And you can see it's written, this whole thing's written with little spin buttons down there in the bottom. So I can say, what if my down payment's more? What if my income is more? So should I bring grandpa into this thing, so he can be a part of this? And what impact would that have? And by the way, if they come to me and they say, oh, well, the monthly payment on the house now is going to be, whenever I go and I cash out on this, it's going to be $1,250 a month. But the investor's only asking me for $800 a month for payment. A little red flag would come up here and say, that's going to be payment shock. So I'll say, you might want to pay the investor more money, because when it comes to underwriting later on, a year or 2 years from now, and the underwriter's saying, well, you only paid $850 for the rent before, and now you're having to pay $1,250, that's payment shock. So I would tell them, you might want to pay them more in rent, whether they ask for it or not. And oftentimes that's what ends up happening. They end up paying them more. And I say, even if you use that extra $400 toward the purchase price or down payment, and you as a real estate investor, now you're collecting more money on a monthly basis.
Exactly. That's a win. Yeah.
It's a big time win. So down at the bottom here, you can't see it, you might not be able to read it, but it basically says I've reviewed these figures and I agree that they're indicative of my income and my expenses. And it says basically I'm not going to change anything here between now and the time I apply for the mortgage. And then you see down the bottom where it says Joe Sample and asks for a signature here. This is your addendum. This thing protects you. So if you have this signed, it basically, now they're saying that they're going to enroll in the credit repair if needed, and they're going to follow your instructions. So it says that too. So everything's baked in the cake here, folks. So you don't have to know all this stuff. You got smart people behind you that know it all and know how to present it and know how to work with your tenant buyers to make certain they get to that second closing table.
That's good news.
Yeah. Yep. What's the cost?
It's great news if you're trying to cash out.
Yeah. If you're trying to cash out, this is the path to get there, Mike. Yeah. So this is what kind of a credit report that whenever fresh off the press, it comes to us from, let's say, TransUnion. I've taken out the person's name in the very top there. This is a standard derogatory item, the first premier item on here. I'm just going to kind of show you, and this is the bottom part of that, like a Santander item on a credit report. This is what it looks like after I'm done writing on it. Because remember, I have them on the screen with me, so I show them. I'm showing them what's inaccurate about this item. So I'm sitting here with my mouse, and that's my handwriting there. I'm drawing on all these things, and I'm saying, oh, if you had a 579, our average improvement score is 85 points. That's how you get your 660. And then it's 30 to 40 points if you get our credit card. So you're over 700. And then just continuing down from there, I show that how First Premier can be removed from the credit report. And those circles, there is 4 reasons why this thing can be removed, because of omitted payment history and because you got contradictions of data. You could look down at the very bottom here where it says times 30, 60, 90 days. I don't know if you can see my mouse moving.
Yeah.
But right here, I say, if I was never late, then why are they reporting it as a charge off? You know, those are 2 contradictions of data. And my worst payment status is unknown. If it's unknown, that they can't even tell me how late I was. And I point out to them that the payment history here is missing on this thing. So I say all these things are factual reasons why this is inaccurate. It's knowing what subsection of the law to apply to have this removed from the credit report. And that's what we specialize in. Oh, and by the way, when we dispute things, guys, we dispute them, all the things. Let's say, for example, they have 10 negative items. That means they've got 30 across 3 credit bureaus. Well, the thing is that if they're working with Lexington Law, creditrepair.com, or one of our competitors, they're going to dispute one thing every 45 days. So that person would take about 4 to 5 years to get through one pass with each of those items. I'll dispute all 30 negative items. Now, I may only get 7 or 8 off. That would be an average set of results. But still, that's a quantum leap from maybe only getting 1 off. And that is why I can give you an end date before you even start to our credit repair service. You get your best bang for your buck. Plus, as a real estate investor, you know how long to set your contract up. You don't want to be setting your contract up for 6 months or a year if it's going to take 2 years to get through this credit repair.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So, again, we're setting them up for success. And I'm telling them that. And then along the way, I'm reinforcing that it was you, Justin, or you, Mike, who brought these people to the table for us. And so I'm setting the table for you by making them, here, I'll show you just a little bit here. Yeah. Making them say yay. Oh, by the way, this guy I draw down here, he's kind of funny. I say, you know, so you're sitting around and you're watching the Bills play. That's your favorite football team, right? And then all of a sudden you get a phone call from Santander, and they're asking for their money back, and blah, 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 blah. And while I'm drawing on this guy, I'm blah, 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 blah. And then so you got to take that phone and put it back on the hanger as quick as possible, because you're going to leave this up to me and let me deal with it. And this whole thing here is basically where I put the letter together, put it in an envelope, and send it to the credit bureaus, and a person has to open up the letter. So it's comical, but at the same time, it's deadly accurate. It shows them that they don't want to dispute these things on their own, because if they do,
full-time job all on your own right away.
Not only that, Mike, but you fall into using their online system. So if you go online and you click a button, you say, oh, I'm going to dispute this. That's a computer talking to another computer, and it's challenging the very information that was uploaded from one computer to the other. And the computer is always right, and that's why things don't come off, or they come off very rarely by using the online technique.
Wow.
This letter and envelope in person that has to open my letter brings a whole new dynamic. This is a different process. So it's knowing what to say, to whom to say, how to say, and when to say it in this letter that is the secret sauce that gets this stuff off of here. And then I go over these little boxes here. What are they going to do? They're going to handle the open active stuff, student loans, and new stuff. I'm going to handle collections, charge-offs, and closed items. So now they're on board with how all this stuff works. Who handles what going forward? It's very complete. It's very comprehensive. By the time they're getting done talking with me, you know, I had one last night. I was only halfway done with the presentation. She pulled out a credit card. She says, I'm going to give you the credit card right now. I says, well, don't you want to hear the rest of the stuff, you know? But anyhow, you know, and people, when I work with them, I'm working with them for 6 months, 9 months, or even a year, depending upon how many negative items they have. You know, I pretty much grow a relationship with them. So it's a blast working with them. And whenever they get done, they're referring their friends and their family. If they refer somebody to us, then we knock $50 off their next payment if they enroll in the service. So it's a well thought out program. I give them tools for them to refer people to us and so on. So
Paul, real quick,
yes,
there's a lot of folks watching, listening here today awesome content so far, but I know a question that's popped up in a lot of folks' minds is he's talking about screening the tenant buyer, doing credit repair for a tenant buyer, but what about me?
Oh, excellent question. And because you came to us through Justin and Michael, I'm going to give you a special offer. I'm going to be waiving my consultation fee of $79. I'm going to waive my setup fee of $119. And I'm going to give you a link that you can get onto my schedule right now if you wanted to. You want to go and schedule me? You can do so. And then in the very bottom here, I basically go over the number of months that they're in my service. And I make them say your name twice. I make them say, oh, the only reason I'm going to waive the setup fee is because you got to say, yay, Justin. They say, what? Say, yeah, you got to say, yay, Justin, because he brought us together. And then a lot of them have fun with it. I had one that was like pom-poms, a cheerleader type thing.
Would I love Justin work if they said that? If they said I love Justin, is that okay?
Yeah, I think that would pass. But I think here's what see, you read my mind. People that are on this thing right now, there's two, I don't know if this is in the ways for these people to see this, but anyhow, there's two different functions here. This first function is you want to text to this phone number here the word register. If you want to register so that you have your own customized branded link in your own application that you'll be able to send to tenant buyers. And if you want to get on my schedule, please take a shot or take your cell phone out, take a picture of this, because you're going to want to, or do a screenshot. You're going to want to go to My Credit Team, Paul, period, you can book, period, me. And that's going to bring up my schedule. And then you'll select whatever. There's three different options. You can select, I just want to be trained on this whole thing, which watching this video, you really won't need that anymore. But if you didn't watch the video, if you want to give it to a friend and you want to have us train them, then the second, actually the first one is I just want to have my credit repaired. I'm not in your program already. And the third one is I need to talk to somebody. I'm already in the program. I just want an update on my stuff. So once you go through those options, you pick that option. The next screen is okay. So pick a time on the calendar, and then the third option is tell us who you are. And in that, I'm going to ask your name and your phone number, but I'm also going to ask for your Credit Karma login ID and password. So before you go here, it's good to already have that information. The cool thing is, since we use Credit Karma, the cool thing is that you don't have a hard inquiry, nor do your tenant buyers have a hard inquiry on the credit report. So it's free for them to find out what I can do for them. So I like that word, free. We carry them through for as long as possible. We would keep the entrance point low. I don't ask for them to pay for all 12 months of the service up front. It's 1 month. They get started for $120. They get started. The second payment's not even due for another 30 days. So they're out of the gate and they get to start seeing things happening within 40 days of the day that they enroll. So, we want them to try before, they buy. We want them to feel comfortable in working with us. That's how this whole thing's set up, low entry points. So the question you asked me, here's the answer right here. So again, before I go off this screen, if you haven't taken a picture yet or whatever, here it is. Please take a picture. I'm going to go off in about 10 seconds here. Justin, any other? Go ahead.
I was just going to say I put that link in the description on YouTube. So if you're on YouTube and you need to go down there because you don't know how to screenshot, okay, then go down there. I just got a new laptop and I can't figure it out on this one, man. So I put it in the description on YouTube. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for putting it in the show notes. I appreciate that. Okay. Why am I not going to the next screen? To err is human, but to really file things up, you need a computer. Oh, here we go. It looks like it. I hope I didn't jump through 2 screens, but here we go. Okay, so this is what your application is going to look like whenever you go and you register with us. This is just the top part of the application. Or no, actually, this is the screen that shows you what you need to do in order to register as a real estate investor. I'm sorry. So just going to put in your first name, last name, public viewed phone number, and private viewed phone number. What do you want the public to see, and what do you want to have? You want to have me have the private number so that I can call you in the back office whenever, you know, a screening comes through and I need to follow up because the people didn't put down the purchase price or something like that. So the private number is not shared with anyone. It's for me to communicate with you. And same with the emails here. And you put down the name of your company on here. And this is what creates the branded link in the application that you're going to get that we talked about earlier. So this whole thing will help you build your buyers list. A larger buyers list is a great tool to getting more properties under control, because you're asked by the seller, so what assurance do I have that these people people you put in my house aren't going to trash my house? Well, you know what, Mr. Seller, I've got a list of 30 people right here who are interested in properties in your area, and they've all been screened by my screening company. We've already run a criminal background check. Mega's our report on them. I know that they make enough money because we ran that too. So, you know, you're more apt to get a property when you've got a nice large buyers list. And by the way, you go searching for a house in a certain area when you have 2 or 3 buyers that have common interests. That makes your exit strategy so much better. And they stay on your buyers list. If they stay in my credit repair program, and by the way, I tell them, whenever we go to close, I say, now you may not get this house. Now, from everything I see, that you're a good candidate, but just because you're a good candidate doesn't mean you're going to get the house. So I would encourage you, if you don't get the house, maybe you have a Doberman or you have a Rottweiler and they don't want to have dogs in this house. So I would encourage you to stay involved with the credit repair, because then if the next week, next month, or 2 months from now, another house becomes available that you would like to look at, then your name's already in there. So it's a way of keeping people in your wheelhouse. And when you have control of those applications, it's so much easier to get homes under control. And you should go to bed knowing that you're helping others. You know, you are helping others. So build your buyers list and feel good about it. So we have a registration process, including educational videos I mentioned before. So when you fill out that registration, you text the word register to that number that I had up on the screen earlier. You'll get 2 videos. You'll get one video that teaches you as a real estate investor about this whole process. And the second one is you'll get to see what the tenant buyer sees after they complete their application. They get a video that tells them about a bit about the process and also encourages them to set up the appointment with the credit expert.
Wow, that's great.
And the customized branded hyperlinks, I've given you an example of one right here where it says apply.screenthetenant.com, or it might say apply.prequalteam.com/ABC Investors, where you plug in your company name, ABC Investors. And by the way, if you do more than one, you'll get an error. So when you only do one with that name, a unique name. In other words, I can't do ABC Investors, it's already in there. But if you want to do an ABC Investors 2 and 3 and 4 and have one for each one of your properties, you can have as many links as you want. Just make them unique, okay?
Nice.
And within the unique nature will be the name of the company. Make the name of the company unique. And so what would it cost you to develop such an application? Is about $1,000. And this application can be viewed on any device. It's a real-time application. And oh, by the way, you get tracking whenever they apply. We'll send you something where you can track them. If you use Podio, you'll actually be able to track them all the way down to everything that's happening blow by blow throughout the process. If you don't use Podio, there's a link for you to just click on it and it'll still work anyhow. Okay, and I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said, there you go. That's awesome.
Yep.
It is awesome.
Appointment scheduling for tenant buyers. You can use this. This is a great tool for open houses, and you can create a buyer frenzy. So in other words, the bottom line here is credibility for you. You look so much more professional than just saying, here's a pen and a paper and here's a clipboard. Put your application together. You can just say, here's your link. And I have a lot of people, what they do is they take their cell phone and they take their link and they put it right in the quick text of their cell phone. And so when they're talking to them, they say, oh, Mr. Jones, I'm going to go ahead and send you my application right now. And it's in the quick text. And while they're on the phone, Jones receives the application. And
That's great.
did you get that? Oh, go ahead and click on that and just go ahead and fill that out. Well, thanks. Okay, I'll be expecting your application, and we'll start working with you tomorrow. You know, so that's how that goes.
Wow, that's really good.
And
That's efficient.
it's a sexy application. It's beautiful. So anyhow, this is part of the video. This is like the last screen that a part of, actually kind of the middle screen of this, what the tenant buyer is going to see. And they'll see that, that there's a credit report involved, and that they're going to talk to somebody from my credit team, and we'll come up with an action plan. And here's the website, and this is what you got to do next. And by the way, here's how you schedule an appointment with a credit expert. So we go through that very methodically, very slowly, very, very directly. Sorry for this confusing screen here, but this is basically what it says is, there are other credit repair companies out there, but there's certain things that they don't do that we do that are part and parcel to this industry that that make this whole process work. So contacting, educating, and following up with a prospect, other companies don't do, especially in the sense of as a tenant buyer. I have about halfway down here, limiting your liability against Dodd-Frank. That's a big thing too. You don't want to find yourself in a court somewhere and some judge saying to you, well, you set these people up for failure and they're suing you under Dodd-Frank. Well, then you say, well, is this their signature here on this document that says that they can afford the house? Is this their signature here on the other document that says they're going to do the credit repair, which they did not do?
Wow.
So now you're covered.
Yeah.
What that cost you? Nothing. Actually, matter of fact, they pay for it. The tenant buyer pays for it. Right. So how much? How much do they pay? Your standard screening is $50, paid by the tenant buyer. Okay. If you want to do a rush order, it's $20. And then if you want me personally to review that applicant, in other words, you got like a $750,000 house, and you want to have me, after talking with the people for about 45 minutes to an hour, give you my 2 cents worth, whether or not I would rent to own to them, and what the potential pitfalls are, and are these people good candidates, and what I should look out for, all those things, then just pay an extra $100 per applicant, and I'll go over it personally with you.
How long does a standard screening take? 3
business days. Remember, we are doing things that no one else is doing. So I know TransUnion offers them instantly. You press a button and 20 seconds later, you got an answer. But that's not what this industry is all about, folks. If you're doing that and you're hanging your hat on that, no one has talked to. And the reason why it takes 3 days, that's an excellent question, is because they have to talk to the credit expert. They have to set up an appointment. We're going to get their income documentation in. We're going to do that full debt to income ratio analysis, and we put that together with criminal background check and Mangazel report. So there's a lot of behind the scenes work. Believe me, folks, I don't make any money for the $50. I pay my people that much money to put all that stuff together, go out and do all that searching stuff.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Right. So why would I do it for free? Pretty much for free. I mean, $50 pays for my costs. Why would I do that? The reason is because I'm a credit repair company too. And I am going to make some money on the credit repair. I'll be honest with you. We do okay on the credit repair. And that's what this is all about. So, but the holistic approach, that's how this thing fits together. Make sense?
Yep.
Credit repair, $120 per month. I say here maximum 9 months. That has since changed. People that have more than 10 negative items, we actually do them for 12 months now. So we have a 9, 12, and a 6-month program for people with less than 7 negative items. Consultation fee of $79 is waived if they are referred by you. And again, I make them say your name and and say, yay, Justin, Setup fee is waived if they're referred by you. And okay, that's all from there. So that's pretty much it, folks. I'll leave some time here in the end for questions, but that's our process, and that's how it all fits together, and that's how it helps you out. And again, it's free for you. So what would you like to do, Justin? You like to open this up for questions, or do you have anything you would like to ask me?
I would like to open this up for questions. And we have quite a few people here in the Zoom room. It looks like a bunch of folks. Of course, myself and Paul and Michael, but Anthony and Nick and Sandra and Aaron and Kimberly and Ed and Jerry and Larry and Mark and Mary and Rick and Steve and Vernon. And then we got a bunch of
Welcome.
folks watching out there. God bless you guys for getting up so early on the West Coast.
Hey, Paul, quick question for you.
Yes, sir.
The $50, is that for the single tenant buyer or is it for the couple if it's a husband and wife?
$50 is per client. So,
Okay.
so the couple will pay $100. And the way the application works, it's actually built right into the application. It's not like when they finish the application, they have to go out to a pay site. You know, the money portion is built right into the application.
I'm a mortgage broker as well, and I pay $50 for a joint tri-merge. So I could verify you're not making any money at $100 for a couple. Definitely not. Looks like a great service.
Well, thank you for that. And as a mortgage broker, text me your information. Text me your information. Just tell me that you're a mortgage broker, and I'm going to send you a separate link. I do separate referrals for mortgage brokers. It's a separate thing than what we do here. But, you know, in other words, then you'll have a tool that you can send to your, we call them tenant buyers in this industry. You call them applicants, borrowers. That's what you call them, right? So,
I'm no longer working with consumers though. I'm only doing mortgages for, non-owner occupied and commercial properties.
okay, well, good for you.
So
Yeah.
I'm in your mainstream program that you introduced to the group as an investor here.
Okay, well, thank you. Good question though, thanks. Other questions?
Yeah.
Hey, Paul.
Oh.
On the standard screening, what does that include? What would be a standard screening that you'd be looking at?
What you'll get back in your packet within 3 business days, and I'm assuming this is Ed, right, Ed?
Yes, sir.
Hello, Ed. Where are you from?
Indianapolis.
Hello, Indianapolis. What you're going to get back with it is you're going to get a criminal background check and a Megan's Law report. You're going to get the debt to income ratio analysis that I showed you on the screen. You're going to get a summary that will tell you how long it's going to take for those people to be mortgage ready. And you'll also get a tracking mechanism. They do enroll in the credit repair. You'll be able to track their results online, real time, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Also, if they enroll in the credit repair, you're going to get another addendum, a second addendum that says that they're going to stay engaged in the credit repair and they're going to follow our instructions. Again, it's all CYA, cover your assets, right?
Right.
Yep. So you're going to get all those all in one neat, we call it our packet, and it comes to you in a PDF format. So you're going to be able to, keep that with your file. You can print it out if you want, and I would strongly recommend printing out the 2 addendums that I give you and have them sign them at closing.
Yep, absolutely.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
Paul,
Hey,
I have a
Paul.
question.
Sandra.
Hi, I have a question. So how exactly do you do the income verification? Because a lot of people can create a fake payment stub.
Yes, you're right. People can create fake payment stubs, and I'm not going to call their employer. So they could pull the wool over my eyes. That's possible. However, having said that, I can look at things on their credit report and I can kind of sniff out things. Because remember, I'm talking to them for about 45 minutes. So if these people are telling me they're making $10,000 a month and their biggest credit card is a First Premier card, it's a $300 card, and they can't even make that payment, there's trouble in them, their hills. So, those are the type of things that I would caution you that there's a mismatch in that. Now, if they recently got a different job, I understand that, but I'll let them know this line of work is not conducive to the line of work that you had before. So you're going to need to have shown that you're going to be in that line of work for a period of time. Self-employed people, I'm self-employed and I've been doing my own taxes now, for 20 years. So I understand kind of how all they think. What I'll let them know is I'll say, hey, listen, this is the number you need to show as your adjusted gross income on your 1040s. in order for you to qualify for this house at this interest rate with this down payment and so on and so forth with this amount of debts. So, you know, can the wool be pulled over my eyes, Sandra? Yes. I mean, if you're really sharp, but only to some degree. I mean, if they're really out of bounds with what I'm seeing on the credit report, and I've seen hundreds, if not thousands, of pay stubs. So if someone manufactures a pay stub, you know, good luck getting it past me. You may, but if they're going to go that far, Sandra, then you know, then they're out to beat somebody in life, and hopefully that's not you. But I don't know if I'm giving you any comfort with this, but you know, there are people out there that are nefarious in their intent. But
So they might get past the first closing table, but they're not probably going to get past the second closing table.
and here's the other thing, Sandra, you're taking a down payment. So if they're going to manufacture pay stubs and give you $5,000 or $10,000 down, and know that that's at risk, you know, those are not the people that do that typically when they're putting that much money down. A renter might do something like that, but a rent to own, knowing that at some point in time in the future, an underwriter is going to have to check all this stuff off. In this industry, I would think it's going to be very rare.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hey,
Go
Paul,
ahead.
hey, Paul, do you have bilingual speakers? So if they were Spanish, would you have someone to speak to Spanish clients?
I do. Now I'm going to outsource that to a friend of mine who's bilingual. Yes, I do. And I can even have my application has a button on it that says Espanol. So they click that, and all the first parts of you know, the name, it says whatever it says. You know, it doesn't say name, it says Nama or whatever it's called. Excuse my Spanish. But anyhow, all the field headers change to be in Spanish, Espanol.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Other questions?
What's the difference between screen to tenant and pre-qual?
They're just two names for the same company, Sandra. They both do the same thing. I started out with Screen the Tenant, my friend Ron LeGrand, and I put that together. But pre-qual team says what I do more accurately than Screen the Tenant. Screen the Tenant kind of boxes us in to a tenant landlord relationship. Pre-qual team moves more to the degree of there's a team of people helping you to pre-qualify. So they both do the same thing. And by the way, Sandra, I have both websites, Screen the Tenant and Pre-Qual Team. They look a little different, but functionally, everything comes to me from both of those sites. So you can register on either of the sites, fill out tenant applications on either of the sites. Essentially, they're the same thing.
So how are you connected to Jesse Mills? Because I thought Pre-Qual was with you guys both.
Jesse Mills and I are very good friends. I've been working with Jesse for a number of years. Jesse does a little bit different spin. He does some things that are the same as us. He doesn't do the credit repair, but Jesse's really good to make certain that your documents are all correct so that you can have the down payment considered down payment and not have some underwriter later on say, oh no, this is a fee that you've taken out and I'm not going to consider that as a down payment. So if you're a newbie, I would definitely want to work with Jesse Mills, especially if you've got a property of decent value until you feel really comfortable with it. Jesse's a wonderful man, and I can't say enough good things about Jesse. But yeah, he's got a service that's a little similar, but by and large, I mean, he refers a lot of business to me, and I refer a lot of business to him. Jesse was in the mortgage business, and he still is now to some degree, but he's doing so good with his real estate investment business right now. It's hard to stay in the mortgage business whenever you're doing as good as he is. So and he even teaches some pieces of it too. He's got that slow thing, you know.
Yeah, we've had him on here. He's he definitely blew our minds with that too.
The slow clip. Yeah, Jesse's a wonderful guy, wonderful people. So if you have a chance to work with Jesse, I would highly recommend it.
The name of his company?
Mike?
Oh man, I don't even know. I know it's slow flip, but that's all I could tell you.
Yeah, slow flip. And you can find him, Jesse Mills. Just look him up on Facebook. He's actually the host of one of those websites. What is it? Lease Option Secrets. Go on to Lease Option Secrets on Facebook. And if you're not already a member, you should become a member of Lease Option Secrets. It's a great group.
It is a good group. It is.
So
Jesse Mills, great guy.
Station. Hey, Paul.
Yes,
You
sir.
mean
I hear you.
buyers are liars?
I'm sorry. Say that again.
I says, following along with you. I says, you mean to tell us sometimes buyers are liars?
Oh, really? Oh, really? You're lying? Are you a realtor?
No, sir, but I've used your product many times. I do a lot of seller financing and a lot of lease options. You've done a lot of work for me in Alabama, Florida, Carolinas. You do a great job. This guys, I'm not. Yeah, you can't go without this service. This guy's service is the backstop to your business. So that's all I wanted to say. You do a great job, Paul.
Thank you for that endorsement. I appreciate it. I don't see your name. Who are you?
Steve Driscoll with Econo Homes and Iron Castle Financial.
Steve Driscoll. Pleasure meeting you face to face, Steve. Thanks. Thank you for
Thanks
the
for
business.
chiming in, Steve. Appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah.
Good to see you here.
Yeah, he's got a good product.
How much is the credit repair cost for the tenant buyer going through credit repair? Can you tell us that again?
Yes, sir. It's $120 per month for no more than 12 months. I have a 6, 9, and 12-month program. The first payment's due when they start. The second payment's not due for another 30 days. So it's an easy entrance. It's a 24 month. And by the way, that's what Lexington law charges to do one item at a time.
Yeah.
It's the same amount.
They're a waste of time.
And when people say, "Oh, I'm with Lexington Law," you know, I've probably talked to about 500 people that have been with Lexington Law, and I don't think there's a single case that did not leave them and come to me. If anybody ever could get their list of clients, just saying that jokingly, but I tell you what, it's shooting fish in a barrel, because I'll go on. You remember that where I showed you, I'm actually got the credit report in front of me. I'll go on and I'll start circling the remarks section. I'll say, now see this item here? There's nothing in here that says that they're disputing this item. So what are you paying for? And I'll go through like the 30 items that they have and say, oh, here's the one that they're actually disputing, you know? And so this is what you're paying for. And they say, oh, okay, I'm going to work with you, Paul. And I say, okay, I think that's a wise decision.
Yeah.
Hey, Paul.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Hey, this is Rick from Los Angeles. Thanks for your time today, man.
Thank you.
The difference? What was the difference between that the rush? I might have missed it. The $20 rush fee. What is that?
I want to have it done real quick. Get it done for me in a day, Paul. I'm going to pay a $20 rush fee. Yeah.
Gotcha. So it's a one-day gig, but everything else is still the same. All the other services are just condensed to one day.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Wow, that's worth $20 right there.
Yeah, I might have my people do that from now on.
Yeah, it's worth $20
For sure.
Heck
For
yeah.
sure.
That was smart, Paul.
Well, you know, you want to move to the front of the stack, it's going to cost you. Otherwise, I mean, with a queue, and everything moves through the queue. It's just a business decision. That's all.
And there's going to be the rush fee. When everybody goes on the rush, they're going to have the double rush. Yeah, man.
double rush.
So Paul, what do you recommend to us investors to? I'm just thinking, okay, so the $120 a month, what if we get like kickback or some pushback? I mean, you know, from the tenant buyer. In terms of, you know what I mean? That might be too pricey for them.
Oh, let me help you out with that, Sandra.
Okay.
They start singing the blues, but $120 per month, my bank will do it for me for free.
And that's $240 for me and my wife, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, I knocked $20 off, so it's $220. The second person gets $20 a month off. Okay. That's $220 for me and the wife. Well, let me think. If you didn't do this, what are the ramifications of not doing it? Well, you're gonna have that gray cloud over your head. You know, whether you get this house or not, you're still gonna have that gray cloud over your head. So, what are you paying interest rate now on all your credit cards? What are you gonna pay in interest in the house? What's the difference? You know, if you're buying a $200,000 house and you're paying 6% interest versus 4% interest or 3%, what's the difference there? So, yeah, I understand. I understand it costs money, but again, good credit is going to cost you some money. And furthermore, I'm going to probably advise a lot of these people, probably about 80% of them, to get a credit card. I have a $5,000 unsecured credit card. Now it costs them $95 to apply, and they have to buy $100 worth of stuff in order for the card to report. Beautiful trade line builder. Oh my God, just blow you away. 30 to 40 points. If you get the card on it before the 25th of the month, it's on the 5th of the next month, it's reporting on your credit report. Boom. It's a major play. It's a major credit card.
I'm gonna have to hit rewind on that, man, because I missed what card you said.
Well, it's part of what we do. Actually, I have a couple of them. I have got a jeweler's club card, and I have another card that has a little bit more versatility in what you buy. Actually, you can buy like Dell computers and things like that. But yeah, if you're interested in that, just send me a text. Say, send me your information on the credit card, and I'll send it to you.
Paul, I'm interested in developing a relationship with you here at Real Estate Wholesalers Club, because I talk about what I call full spectrum wholesaling, which is it's like a word I coined. It doesn't mean anything out there in the world, but to me, it means that I can do an ugly house. If it's an ugly house lead, I can do a pretty house with no equity. I can do a lease option. So I got all these tools in my toolkit, and I'll just confess, I've been using the TransUnion stuff, the mysmartmove.com. And I don't know why I wouldn't. I mean, why would I not use you? You sound incredibly better, and it's about really the same money for the tenant buyer. Plus, you add credit repair on top, and you already map out like how long it's going to take. Okay, so it solves a few more additional issues for me. So I'd like to develop a long-term relationship here, because I'd like to use you myself, but I also want to make you available to the club members.
Okay. Well, yeah, love it. Looking forward to doing business with you long term, Justin.
Yeah.
And I know I'm going to help you out a lot, and looking forward to doing what I can to help not only you but your tenant buyers. And I always say before I hang up the phone with them every time, I'm looking forward to helping you and helping you accomplish your goals. And they like that. They like that, because then they know that I'm genuine, and your business now is genuine. We're not here to beat people. We're here to work with them to help them accomplish their goals.
Yeah. And see, here's the thing, y'all. Okay. When you assign a lease option, you make the cash up front, you walk away. End of story. End of profits. Right? But when you sandwich it and you have a monthly cash flow, it can exponentially increase. I don't know if exponentially is the right word, but I mean drastically increase your profits. And the problem with that is knowing who you're putting in there, because you're kind of putting yourself out there with them. And when you put a sandwich together, you're putting that tenant buyer in there. You need to know who's in there, and that they're going to be able to qualify and all that. And this is not a part of the business that you want to play blindfolded darts.
Right.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Right.
Paul helps you manage the risk. That's what it's all about. He helps you manage the risk.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah. Well said. And so I think with Paul in your back pocket here, you can do the sandwich technique more frequently in your business, increase your profits right there automatically, in a monthly way. Everybody likes that.
You got that right, man. Absolutely.
Hey, I got one question, Paul. Since you know Ron LeGrand, you're not going to tell him that I stole this shut up money thing from him, are you?
What? I didn't hear what you said. Your secret is safe with me.
That's great.
Yeah, that I love your slogan there, and your graphics are beautiful, beautiful graphics. Yeah. Who did those? You can refer them to me. I need some help.
It's an app on your phone called Word Swag.
Writing that down right now.
Word Swag, yeah. I just play around with Word Swag when I get bored. But this is a green screen, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty neat.
Are there any other questions here, guys, for Paul? I don't want to keep him too long today. What an awesome time we've spent here. Time flew for me because I was having fun. Great value you've added to us, Paul. Any last questions for him before maybe we cut him loose?
I see something coming up on my screen here from Vernon.
There you go.
3 credit bureaus went away.
3 credit bureaus have been cracking down on companies like My Jewelers Club, is what he says.
Okay. And I don't understand
what
what cracking down is.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Are you saying, so what that might mean is they're not
reporting. Yeah, they're not reporting that. They're not
okay.
letting them
So
report.
the My Jewelers Club, you're saying that they're not reporting it on all 3 or any
Yeah,
one
all
of them?
three. All three. I know Experian because I have My Jewelers Club.
Experian.
Experian, yeah.
And there's a second one too called New Coast Direct, and Experian's not reporting them either. I talked to the people who put these cards together, the big cheeses up there, and this is new. If this is correct, and I don't doubt you, that Experian's no longer reporting Jewelers Club. You know, there's nothing I can do about that, but at least you'd have the benefit of the reporting on the other 2. Yeah. But it is a major credit card, and so for what it gives you, even if it only gives you 2 of the credit bureaus, it's well worth the money.
Yeah.
Did you ever get the card before, and what was your improvement in score?
I think immediately I got about 32 points.
Okay, there you go, folks.
Wow.
That's what I teach. It's somewhere between 30 and 40 points, depending upon how thin or thick your file was before that. But thank you for that.
Yeah. Man,
Great.
this is so valuable, guys, on a number of levels, really.
You said the repair was 135 or 125 a month?
The credit repair is $120 per month. They may leave my service at any point in time without penalty. The first payment's due when they start. The second payment's not due for another 30 days. Well worth it.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Any other questions? Anything here? Anybody? Anything? I'm gonna try to look over here on YouTube real quick. Okay. Rashik says, great job, more tools for him to use. Good.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Please do, everyone out there. Paul comes highly recommended. He's associated with a lot of folks that you and I know, okay, that are in the business. Please reach out to him. If you want to put that contact number on the screen, Paul, again, share screens if you want to, that'd be great. And then I'll let you sign us off, man.
I don't think that I have my contact number in there. It's the registration. Okay. The registration process is going to get you into my fold, and through that registration process, that's where everything ties together. And here is the registration information right there. Text the word register to that number right there. Or if you just want to get on my schedule directly, you can get on my schedule by using that link right there.
There you go. All right, guys. Use Paul, leverage Paul and his business to make your business better. That's really what we're talking about today. So what a great opportunity. It's affordable for you because it costs nothing. The tenant buyer, it's affordable for them. It's a win-win-win. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that a lot. Paul, thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you, dude. Any last thing you want to share with us, Paul, before we wrap up here?
I want to thank Mike and you, Justin, for having me, and anybody that is out there today listening to us, or whether you watch it on a rerun or whatever. Thank you, and I'm looking forward to helping you accomplish your goals.
Yep. Awesome.
Sounds great. Paul, thanks again for taking the time, brother. We really do appreciate it. Good to finally put a voice to a face live here. So
yeah. You got to tell Ron LeGrand to stop by and visit with us sometime too. And then will you come back sometime too, Paul?
Yes, yeah. I'll come back whenever you like. We've got a couple other subject matters that we could talk about, a little bit more in depth about the credit repair. There's a lot I didn't cover, but If you'd like to have me back, I'd love to be a guest again.
Yeah, dude, we'd love that, man, because I soaked this in like a sponge today, Paul. This was right up my alley. I appreciate it, man. You have a great rest of your weekend, sir.
Thank you, Justin.
Thanks
Stay
again,
healthy,
guys.
everybody. God bless you. Stay
Thanks,
healthy,
Paul.
and we'll see you again
Hey,
next week.
Everybody
hang
have a
on,
great week.
Justin, hang on. We got to talk about Monday night.
Okay, all right. Well, let's talk about Monday night then.
We got, yeah. We got a big thing planned Monday night.